Hello there, and welcome to Hey We're Talking. It is Wednesday, midweek, and we are here with the cast of characters that usually traipse around on this show. We got Bob Peel. Bob, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for, usually you guys don't ask me that. I appreciate that. That's nice.
Well, I just figured I'd mix it up a little bit. You like that. You get all excited. People can see right now your cheek, your cheeks get real high. You get all smiley. So
my cheeks get high.
Yeah, you got the these little, what are these called? These are cheeks,
it's
right?
Fat cheeks, and when I smile they push up.
Fat
dimples.
Move up. That's all.
I have dimples underneath the fat somewhere. Okay. Anyway, and Derek, how about you? How you doing, buddy?
I'm fine, Scott. How are you doing? How's your Wednesday?
My Wednesday is fantastic. Couldn't be happier. Couldn't be more excited for the show today.
You got any TV shows you're excited about watching on this Wednesday?
Yes. You watch? Survivor, always. I love Survivor. Listen,
is that a thing?
Fun of, yeah.
I didn't know it was still on.
Oh my gosh, dude. It's been on the air for 17, almost 18 years now, and it's on I think they're like 30 seasons in.
Is Jeff Probst still on there?
Yeah, man. Jeff rules. Dude, this has been a good season, too. They've done, it's like people that got really close to winning and didn't win. So it's really good. They brought them all back, like people that have been really close to the end and then didn't do it. It's called Game Changers. So it's been a good season. It really has. Listen, people make fun of me for it all the time. I'm telling you, how does that show stay on the air for 17 years if it isn't good?
No, I'm not saying it's good. It's just not my style of show.
I get it.
But how have you guys ever watched Amazing Race?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is that show? I've never watched it, but
it's fun, too. It's not as good. I don't like it as much as Survivor because it's more... it's actually probably one that would be really fun to do, but I wouldn't want to do it with someone I was like... I wouldn't want to do it with my wife. So we would fight the whole time.
The big scavenger hunt?
Yeah, basically, you just go all over the place. You have to figure out how to travel to all these. They give you money to do it, but you have to get in line to get on these flights. You have very limited amount of time to do these things. There's little tasks you have to complete. You have to find things. It's pretty crazy. I mean, they go completely all over the world. It's not that's just... Awesome. I mean, it's like intense, dude. So...
Yeah, I've never watched it, but that's another one of those that I kind of put in the same bucket as Survivor, one of those kind of reality shows. What's up, Derek?
I actually think Amazing Race, when I was watching like live TV, which I don't really get an opportunity to these days, I always thought Amazing Race was pretty cool. That was always a great show. I do like travel shows, travel documentary type shows. Michael Palin and was that one with Ricky Gervais and that guy?
Idiot Abroad. Yeah.
Idiot Abroad. That stuff's really cool. And so Amazing Race, I thought was right up my alley. It's on Netflix, Bob.
Bob,
Peel.
You would
check it out.
I don't know though. Now that I say that, part of the reason that Idiot Abroad is very funny to me is because there was a Ricky Gervais podcast where they had this guy on the podcast. He was actually just their audio engineer, and they brought him in, and they found out that he's just stupid funny because of just him as his personality. Anyway, all right, so Amazing Race, though, I think you would enjoy it. Again, you're not the type of person, Bob, just from what I know of you, that's like, hey, let's sit down and watch TV. You're not. No, that's not your thing.
No, we've got our selected shows that I look forward to watching.
Yeah.
Pretty much like 5 shows, but there's always shows in the background that I'm kind of like, I wonder what that show's like. Like a show I watch by myself is Deadliest Catch, which is back on season 13.
You might like it then.
So I love Deadliest Catch, but we've got other shows like Designated Survivor, Supernatural, Homeland, things like that we watch. My wife and I watch together that I look forward to watching. Sometimes it's hard to take on a new show.
Yeah.
So.
I have found over the years, Cheryl and I watch tons of TV because we don't have kids. So we have nothing to do with our lives because we have no children. I'm kidding, by the way. And so I'm just finding the older I get, though, the more I'm just like, selectively editing and getting rid of a lot of stuff because I'm just kind of like, what am I watching this crap for? But for some reason, Survivor has hung on.
Yeah,
I can't
like,
stop myself.
One show that's hung on for us is Supernatural, which is just crazy. We've been watching it. My wife and I will be together 20 years in, I don't know, a few days. And we've been watching it since we were teenagers together. So
wow.
It's just one of those ones that have just hung on with us.
That thing's on still that long?
Yeah. It's been on for...
Here.
They're on season 13 or 14, or I don't even know what it is. So
that's bizarre, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy. But
congratulations on 20 years, Bo, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a very interesting.
And I'm also being distracted. You've got this pipe in front of you that is standing straight up.
Yeah, I was going to get into that when we start talking about Chicago, but yes, let's do it.
Yeah, I was curious about that. So I'll kind of lead into that. So not too long ago, I went to the Chicago Pipe Show, which is the largest pipe show in North America, not in the world, in North America. And it's basically a whole bunch of people that get together and sell pipes and pipe paraphernalia and all kinds of stuff. And this is something I wound up getting at the show, which is a bent Dublin by JD Smoking Pipes. This is a very beautiful, nice beautiful pipe. It's everything you can dream of, at least I could dream of in a pipe. And it was a good time. Get to meet up with a whole bunch of people, on YouTube and Instagram, stuff like that. And we kind of had a blast.
Who all was there? Do some name dropping. We don't have to go into deep detail, but who did you basically hang out with while you were there?
The people I hung out with were Kevin Reynolds, who is Naked Cartwheel King, Tramp Gentleman Jim. He came over. I picked him up from the airport, and we hung out for, the whole weekend pretty much. Queen of Cobbs, her name's Kaylee. Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin is at the pipe show?
Let's see, who else?
Is there really somebody named Alec Baldwin that goes to the pipe
I don't know. I keep calling him Alec Baldwin. Now I don't know what his last name is. But no,
so you're just totally making that up.
We get to see the world.
Bradley? Isn't it Alec Bradley?
No, there's a Michael Bradley, but he wasn't there. Let's see.
I know who you're talking about. Stay-at-home piper.
Yes, stay-at-home piper.
Yeah.
Jeremy Larson, got to hang out with him, which I've been trying to do for 2 years, and finally actually got to hang out with him for a while. Mm-hmm. Ian Barnes from IB Pipes, Hector Weeb. There was a large group of us. I got to see the world-famous Boontar.
Of course, Boonsky.
Yeah, which, man, he looks good, man. I told him, as soon as I saw him, I'm like, man, you lost some weight, didn't you? Yeah. And he's, downplaying it, but yeah, he's lost some weight and he's looking good. And it was a great weekend.
He needs to shave the beard off so everybody can see his thin face.
Yeah, I don't know what he's got. I really didn't pay attention. I don't know if he's got a full beard now or just kind of a chin thing like Derek, but I don't remember what facial hair he's got. But I mean, it was
still got the full beard.
Yeah, I think he still got it.
I don't know. I was just so overwhelmed by his presence that I couldn't even think of that. But no, it was a good time. I didn't have much of a voice on Sunday or Monday, just because when you're smoking all weekend, you're drinking all weekend, and you're talking all weekend, it kind of beats up your voice a little bit. And I know Kevin also had trouble speaking.
Yes, he did. Hey, I got a quick question for you, though.
Sure.
Based on maybe some people that listen to our show know this, some of them might not, but I know that the FDA has a lot of stuff going on when it comes to pipe tobacco and pipe smoking. And I think it has to do with more than just pipe tobacco and pipe smoking, but was the pipe show, were there less people there because of the current stuff that's going on, or was it still the same size?
So here's a dynamic that's changed a little bit since maybe you were there, Scott, or you were there, Derek, the last pipe show. Is, to me, there was a lot less pipe makers there. There were a lot of open tables, but from kind of the rumor mill that you hear is that people did so well in the tent sales on Friday that they decided they sold out of everything. They didn't get a table. That could have been an excuse, or just a lot less people were there. I know I was standing there on Saturday, which is typically the Saturday and Sunday. Or Saturday is usually the busiest day, and it was nothing like years in the past. It was a lot different, a lot less people. Still a great time, but there was a little bit of a different dynamic. A lot of lot of names that are in the YouTube pipe community that weren't there, which was kind of sad to see, but the reality of it. And as far as tobacco, I was lucky enough to get some 20-year-old tobacco, 21-year-old tobacco. I was able to get my hands on a lot of good stuff when it comes to that. But now the FDA says you can't give away tobacco anymore. So they were basically charging 25 to 50 cents per sample to hand out tobacco, which is another thing that's changed over past shows, because they would just hand it out. They would just give it away. And at the end of the night, if they had a bunch left over, they just dump it in a bag and get rid of it.
Yeah.
And a lot of that stuff's changed.
Okay. So it was not the same, but I think probably then the most interesting fact that people need to know, and I give Bob a hard time about this all the time, but so he and Jimmy, I said to him, because originally I was thinking about surprising Bob and showing up in Chicago, because Jimmy kept trying to bug me to go. And I was just like, man, that is a really long drive, dude. And it would have been hard for this old man. But anyway, so I was asking Bob, like, so are you guys staying anywhere, or what are you doing? And just asking like questions to figure out what I was going to do. Bob's like, yeah, I think we're just going to sleep in my truck. And listen, I'm going to be straight up. The idea of sleeping in the truck just to me was like, freaking, I will kill someone. I am not sleeping in a freaking truck.
That's camping.
No.
Right.
No. Anyway.
Pee in a bottle?
No.
Sleep in a truck?
No.
It's a problem.
No, not going to happen. Sorry.
I mean, they were probably drinking a lot of beer anyway, so I mean, just kind of
which makes
probably
you pee
just
more.
settled in.
Right. So anyway, yeah, so you guys did end up sleeping in the truck one night, and the story made me laugh because you were like, you started getting cold at one point, and you turned your truck on to turn the heat on. Yep. And apparently while you're sleeping, Jimmy's just like, it's too damn hot in here, and he turns the car off to cool it down. And you thought that was great because you guys just helped each other out.
Yeah, right? It was kind of a perfect balance. So we wound up staying in my truck Saturday night. It was like 2 a.m. when we finally said, all right, we're done. Mm-hmm. We get back to my truck. I brought some blankets. That way he could have his own blanket. I could have my own blanket.
Do you have a pillow?
No, you kind of use the blanket as a pillow and you wrap yourself in it. Or, he had a hoodie.
I like this is like helping me really see. I'm picturing you guys now. Go ahead. Keep telling me more.
So, of course, I'm in the driver's seat and he's in the passenger seat. Once we get in the truck, we just fire it up to get it nice and warm in there. Because it was getting into the 30s. Yeah. Like the upper 30s at nighttime, which is, it's kind of cold if you're in a truck with leather seats.
Ooh, leather too, guys.
This guy, I don't know what happened with Jimmy. Jimmy, he kind of moves around a little bit and all of a sudden,
gone.
Dude is out. Yeah. And I'm look over and I'm like, dude, I haven't even found my comfy spot yet, So truck gets nice and warm. I shut it off. I finally find a comfy spot and boom, I was out. At some point in the morning, throughout the night, I felt a little chilly. So I'm just like, heck with it. I started my truck up, got that heat going. And just as Scott said, Jimmy, once it got warm in that truck, I passed out right away. He decides to reach over, shuts the truck off.
He's like, it's damn hot in here.
I had an amazing night's sleep.
Really?
I slept extremely well. Once I found that comfy spot, I was out, man. I think
it's so difficult to picture being comfortable sleeping in a car.
It's a truck, number one. And we laid the seats back and it was comfortable, man. Right. It wasn't a problem. Woke up. Think about this.
You weren't stiff or anything?
No, I woke up. I'm like, oh, all right, we're good to go.
I got to peed.
Got to brush the teeth, and then go to Dunkin' Donuts. So that was pretty much the morning.
don't piss off your wife then, because if she's now armed with the information that you're cool with sleeping in the truck, And
yeah,
by
now
the
you're
way,
screwed.
Just for a clarification point, Bob lives in Chicago.
Yeah.
He lives
Right.
near where this event, but he's like,
Well,
"Oh,
it's like 45 minutes to an hour with traffic
Yeah.
away, isn't it?
It's about an hour away, but I mean, the reality is I did not want to be up all night drinking on and off and drive home. So, and I wasn't going to take an Uber an hour home and then an hour back up in the morning. So I'm like, you know what? I had a few beers. I was fine. By the time I went to sleep, I would say I was sober, but I still don't want any trouble.
Hey, I don't want any trouble, officer.
I don't want any trouble.
I'm just going to sleep in my truck, officer. Hey, so
Right.
were you in the parking lot of where the show was, or where did you park?
Yeah, we were not far from the tent.
That's so great. You're just like, you know what? We're going to be here tomorrow. Might as well just sleep right here.
Yeah,
And-
we actually pulled up behind like somebody had a pickup truck with a trailer on it, and in that trailer they had a bed. But we just pulled up behind that trailer, so the lights were the trailer was blocking all the lights, and we're like, Jimmy and I looked at each other, we're like, yeah, that's a pretty good spot. No light shining on us. And that was it, man.
Sweet. And
So-
they didn't waste any money on any frilly stuff like food. They had a little cooler with their sandwiches. What kind of sandwiches did you have?
Salami, cheese, and mustard. Yeah, we went to Walmart, bought some lunch meat, bought some chips, bought some beer from Benny's, and loaded up a cooler, and that was it, man. And everyone's like, we're gonna go out to Portillo's, we're gonna go to Giordano's, we're gonna go here and there, and Jimmy and I are like, all right, we'll go out to the truck. But we saved. Think about how much money we saved by not doing that, and that gave us more money for beer and
But
backy.
when you're in Chicago, you have to have Portillo's and Lou Malnati's.
But I live here.
Right, but Jimmy doesn't.
Yeah, he doesn't care about that.
I know.
I
As
just
soon as
want-
it came out of my mouth, I'm like, Jimmy could give a crap.
I just
about
want to
that.
drink some beer. And
I just want some
pies.
hardball and a hot dog.
Anyway, all right. So I enjoy those stories. I don't know if anybody else enjoys them, but to me, they're fun. Go ahead, Bob.
Well, I'll tell you real quick what we did on Sunday. The group that I mentioned before, we kind of got up and hung around the smoking tent for a little while on Sunday, and then we had a planned brewery hop. So I actually took them to a place for some barbecue, and then we hopped around to several microbrews within the area and just sampled beers from each location.
So you did
And-
spend money.
I spent money on beer. That's what I said. Beer
good.
and Becky, pretty
Beer
much.
and, beer and backy.
Yeah, just not on food.
Yes.
So it was cool to take a bunch of your friends to local breweries that I enjoy and get their take on them. So that was probably hanging out with everybody was the highlight of my whole trip. I
That's
could
the
have
only
not
reason
even.
I would go is just to see
Yeah,
you guys.
I didn't even
Oh, yeah.
need to go into the show. I could have just hung out with these guys in the tent the whole time and just had a blast.
Derek, take us home. What's your last comment here? Do it.
Was one Simplex one there? Horatio?
No, Horatio was not there. Smoking
Hello,
Grandpa
my-
Bones was not there.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess he was sick. He was
Yeah.
not well.
He's actually Bones is actually going to come to Nashville in September. There's not going to be a pipe show in Nashville this year, but because I'm going, and I kind of put a call out for people.
Yes, you
Anybody
did.
gonna and people are gonna and people in the surrounding area, people in the local area are gonna come in to maybe do like a Saturday at one of the pipe shops, and I think Smoking Grandpa Bones has to go to Florida around that time of the year to move a family member up to Chicago, and he's like, I'm in. So I'll get to see him. So middle of September sometime, Nashville. But Chicago, I need to go to that next year. I
You
gotta
need to make plans.
make it down there. So I do want to thank everybody for tuning in to today's episode of Hey We're Talking. You can check us out on heywe'retalking.com. Check us out on Podbean or iTunes. And if you're listening through those various podcast outlets, we also on YouTube on Hey We're Talking with all kinds of extra stuff
Yeah,
on
you can see
YouTube.
our faces and stuff. It'll be fun.
Yeah, and I need to do more GeoGuessr. I've been slacking.
I know. What happened with that?
I don't know.
Hey, by the way, we also are doing something else on Hey, We're Talking. I don't know if we ever really talked about that on this show, but
Yeah.
we're doing a thing called Hey, We're Drinking. And I did one video so far, but it's going to be reviews of adult beverages. And then every once in a while, we'll do a hangout where we kind of do some of our old school stuff where we talk about beer or whatever alcohol beverage we decide to just hang out and have some fun. So if you go to the Hey We're Talking YouTube channel, you can see that we have a playlist called Hey We're Drinking, and you can join in on that one as well.
And the dove.
I'll let
home.
the morning dove take us out. Boop, boop. All right, guys. We will see you on Friday. Thanks for listening.